All right, folks, good evening. Welcome to the webinar. As always on Tuesday nights, our speaker tonight is Greg Halloway. Greg is considered by his peers to be one of the top 5 numismatists in the world. He spent over 40 years of his life buying and selling rare coins and has developed quite an expertise in not only in gold and silver, but in international finance and in inflation and how it affects our lives and how we can protect our families and our churches and businesses from the ravages of inflation using gold. So we're fortunate to have such a distinguished speaker, and I want to turn the microphone over to him now. We've got about 30 coins that we want to talk about tonight. This is as you can see on the screen, the 5th part in a series on sovereigns, the only world coins. Greg's going to give you a little bit of background and refresher on that before we start into the individual coins. And there will be another in this series next Tuesday. Remember, there's no webinar. We're taking our Thanksgiving break next Monday and Tuesday, so there'll be no Monday webinar, no Tuesday webinar. But the following Tuesday, December the 4th, will be the 6th in this series. So, Greg, if you'd like to go ahead and make your opening comments, and then let me know when you're ready to start looking at the individual slides.
Okay, thank you all for listening. It's a great opportunity to be able to speak to you, especially about one of my favorite subjects, the gold sovereigns. In the previous parts of the series, if you have not had the chance to listen to them, catch the recording. But a quick summation is that the Great Britain sovereign is one of my favorite coins for a number of reasons. There are literally hundreds of millions of collector coins in the world. So why did I pick the English sovereign as our top bet? It's because it's the only world coin. No country on earth ever made coins beyond its home soil. But Great Britain was the world's largest empire in history, and it needed to mint coins throughout the colonies that it had around the world in order to facilitate commerce. Since the English sovereign was the coinage unit of Great Britain, it's now called the pound, but back in years gone by it was called the sovereign, was the primary coin, and therefore it was minted around the globe. Collectors like big, and the sovereign, while not the biggest coin physically in the world, it's the biggest coin market in the world. Virtually among gold coins, there is no other coin that is more heavily collected than the sovereign. All over the globe, people want them. It's a very important series, one with many, many varieties. Variety is the spice of life, and with coins, it's all the more interesting. The greater number of varieties, the greater number of mints, the greater number of variations and designs and so forth, the more interesting the series is. Combine that with the fact that, as I mentioned, the English sovereign is the only world coin minted on 5 continents, and then combine that with the fact it's the longest coin series in the world, having been made over 500 years. Between the 3 of those, most number of varieties of any coin on Earth, minted on more places than any other place on Earth, and made for the longest period of time than any other coin series. Therefore, you put all these together, and you can understand why it's such a popular coin. Then, the coup de grace is that, on top of everything else, it's very, very undervalued. A comparable, let me say that over again. The comparable coin in the American series to the English sovereign would be the $5 gold piece, similar in size. The most valuable $5 gold piece got an estimated current value at nearly $7 million. Now, that's one coin for $7 million. For 3 times that amount, we could buy the entire series of English sovereigns of 1,000 coins spanning over 500 years of history, containing literally dozens of coins similar in rarity to the one American piece worth $7 million. Think about that for a minute. Dozens of them similar in rarity to one $7 million coin, and yet the whole series would only be 3 times that price. Now, when you understand the value opportunity here, that's what gets it exciting. So it was with that Tom and I embarked on a plan a number of years ago to start building a set of these, and therefore that's the goal of the Golden Art Collection. And Tom, you can begin to introduce these individual coins. So we are going through now the individual coins that are actually have been already purchased for the Golden Art Collection. These are not just random pictures, but some of the pieces that we have already purchased for the Golden Art Collection, to give you an idea of what we've done so far.
Okay, our first in the lineup, first up to bat, so to speak, is a 1729 Proof 63 guinea.
Now, the English sovereign has had 3 names: the sovereign, the guinea, and more recently the pound. So it's all the same denomination, but at different points in time, it's been called different names. So this particular piece is a mega rarity. It's a proof presentation piece. It's a beautiful condition, as you can see. If you held it in your hand, you could actually see yourself in it, because the coin has been heavily polished at the mint to give it a finish. That cannot be reproduced after the fact. People say, well, can I polish up my coins and make a proof? No, that's impossible. You'll just ruin them. It can only be done at the mint. The technology to do so requires very expensive machinery. You cannot do this after the fact. So it's a beautiful work of art, and only a handful known to exist. Believe it or not, folks, this coin is nearly as rare as the $7 million American $5 gold piece. But are you ready for this? At a price that the buyer paid for this of less than $50,000. So you get to see, again, why it's so exciting to buy these rarities. Okay, next.
So as far as proof coins, don't try this at home, right, Greg?
Correct.
All right. Next up to bat is a 1731 MS64 guinea.
This coin is noteworthy because it's essentially near flawless. Folks, I pointed this out a while back, but just as a refresher, the grading scale for coins goes from 1 to 70, 70 being perfect, 1 being destroyed. Now, for very early coins, though, it's almost unheard of to see anything better than 64 or 65 at the best. There are no 70s, 69, 68s. They don't exist from this time frame. The reason is because the technology didn't even exist to make them in that state of preservation. Today, technology has been tremendously improved, and it is possible for the mint to make coins in a perfect state of 70. That's because there's somebody actually quality controlling it at the mint, standing there with white gloves on to pluck the coin fresh off the dies and put it into a hard plastic sealed holder. None of this existed back in the 1700s. They just cranked them out and threw them into bags, and off they went to be distributed at banks. So therefore, even if you were standing at the mint, able to grab one as it was made, you still would never find 170 because the minting technology just was flawed even from the get-go. So this particular coin is the best that exists. There are none finer, and the grade is absolutely exceptional. So the goal of the Golden Art collection is to buy the finest known. Should we buy something that we believe is the best, and later one should pop up, become available that is better, then of course we'll buy the better one and trade up. To give you an idea of value, this coin, despite its nearly 300 years of age, is only worth about $35,000, which is an absolute bargain for something that kind of age. From the American series in the 1700s is worth in the hundreds of thousands.
And as far as the trading up, if we do come across a coin, let's say you had this MS-64 and we came across an MS-65, the person who has the 64 would have the first option on upgrading to that one. Greg, I know we don't normally take questions until the end, but Mark from Canada did ask a question that I think would be appropriate to put in here, because on the previous slide he asked, why if these coins are so nice, is the stripe not centered? Is it common to see the edges thicker on one side than the other? Now the previous coin, and also on this coin, that appears to be the case, but this is actually a function of the lack of photographic skill. Some of these are some of the earlier coins that we bought, and we hadn't gotten quite so good at taking the picture. So if the picture's not taken directly straight on, then it will make it appear that the edges are thinner on one side and the other, but that's not actually the case. Anything you want to add to that, Greg?
Yeah, that's the correct answer. In reality, they're properly centered all the way around. It's just the photograph was not the best.
I'm sorry, we really try hard. But anyway, like I say, we've gotten much better at taking the photographs over the years. Okay, next up is a 1733 MS-62 guinea.
This particular piece is also the finest known of its year. The criteria for the Golden Art collection is to buy only brand new coins. Brand new meaning they're in mint condition, or mint state as collectors call them, which is abbreviated MS. So that's what the initials or designation MS stands for on the holder. Anything that is 60 or better, mint state 60 or better, means that it's brand new, uncirculated, and the higher the grade mint state, the more perfect it is. Now, coins from the 1700s, as we've talked about earlier, just don't come in this state of preservation. They usually come completely worn out. I travel a lot to coin shows, as you've heard me talk in the past, and what is available at coin shows may be coins of this era, but they're completely worn out where half the design is worn off. We don't want stuff like that. We want things that are mint condition, the higher the grade possible. Now, of course, I make exceptions when we can't find one in mint condition. Sometimes they just don't come along. And then, of course, as we mentioned a moment ago, should we buy one that is in one grade and a better one does come up, then of course I will buy the better one and offer you the chance to upgrade. So this is a really great trophy piece from this era. Next.
Now we're jumping ahead 6 years to 1739. This is an MS-63 Plus guinea. It's an EIC, by the way, Greg. This is EIC.
Yes. The Plus designation stands for it's in between grades. The graders thought it was better than a 63, but not quite a 64. So it's another way of saying 63 and a half. For years, the grading services tried to stay away from the concept of splitting grades, but finally ended up doing so. This is a really beautiful trophy piece also. All these coins from the 1700s in mint condition are phenomenal. We really got lucky with finding these. I haven't found any in the 1700s in quite a while in mint condition, so this is a fabulous piece to have as part of the Goldmark collection. Again, these are not that valuable considering the rarity and condition. These are all in the range of 20 to 40,000 apiece. Next.
This is a 1752 guinea MS-61.
Similar to the ones we've just been talking about, again, if I can find anything from the 1700s in mint condition, I automatically grab it. And this, of course, is a really beautiful piece from that era. We're making a pretty good dent on building the collection with pieces from the 1700s. Okay, next.
1758 MS-63.
This particular coin is the also the finest known of its era. So it's a really beautiful piece that's in superb condition. Despite its condition, this is really quite reasonable. This particular piece and the ones prior in the mid-1750s, the values of them are quite reasonable. Depending on year and condition, they're anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, which is a bargain for something of that age in this condition. Okay, next.
Okay, jumping up 1 year to 1759. This is an MS-62.
This is also same as I mentioned a moment ago. Just to give you an idea of the quality of the pieces, some of the photographs are better than others. So when you are able to see the good ones, you'll be able to appreciate the design. Some of these some of the folks who own these may be on the line tonight. I don't know who all is listening, but as I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, these are coins that are actually owned by people that Tom knows that are building the Goldmark collection with us. Now, these aren't just random pieces that I've taken photographs of. These are actually all part of the Goldmark collection. Okay, next.
Yes, and some of the people who own some of the coins we talked about are on the call tonight, and I'm sure they're enjoying seeing their personal coins displayed. All right, we got a 1760 guinea. This one is MS-63.
Now, this is a really high condition for these. I have never seen better from the mid-1700s than the ones that we have in the Goldmark collection. So they're, again, quite reasonable at anywhere between $5,000 and $15,000 a piece in this kind of condition. They're quite rare. There's only a number of these known to exist in this kind of condition.
Okay. All right. By the way, for those of you that are not familiar with the what you're looking at here, besides the coin, the slab, always on the left we have the front of the coin, which is called the obverse, and the back, which is called the reverse. If you look on the reverse, you see where it says PCGS. That's a hologram. That's designed to prevent counterfeiting. And also you notice that it's PCGS is a NASDAQ listed company. Its symbol is CLCT. So we're dealing with big time companies. You'll notice that the only two kinds of slabs you're seeing here tonight are NGC, which is the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, and PCGS, the Professional Coin Grading Service. These are the two big boys. These are the ones that guarantee the authenticity of the coin, and they guarantee their grade. And if they're not right, you can see their guarantee on the websites. They'll buy it back. Okay, going to
point in fact that does happen. I was on with one of my associates that hunts rarities for us that just came back from Japan, and he discovered that PCGS had made a mistake and had certified a very expensive coin as genuine that wasn't, and they had to cough up the money and buy it back. It was a brand new, unknown to this point type of fake, but ultimately the top experts catch it, and it was taken off the market. So they do occasionally get trapped, and that's why that guarantee is so important. That's also the reason why they take so long to grade and certify the major rarities, because they want to make absolutely certain they don't make any mistakes when they're talking about large sums of money on the line.
Right. It's. I was explaining this to someone, Greg, about the reason why it does take extra time sometimes. When I was a young guy, I used to hang panelings. When I tell you this, you see how far back this goes. I charged $5 a sheet to put up paneling for people. So we're talking 30-some years ago, over 35 years ago. And that was for the ordinary paneling that people paid $10, $15 a sheet for. If they had expensive paneling, $50 and up, I would charge them $20 or $25 a sheet, because if I messed up and cut the hole for the electrical outlet to the wrong place, I just bought that $50 sheet of paneling, so I had to charge more for it. And that helped this gentleman understand why these people take their time to make sure they've got it exactly right, because as happened in this instance, it's very rare for a fake to get by. But if it does, they eat the price. And but that's also something that gives me a lot of confidence, because and why we only use these two companies. The last that you saw was PCGS. Now you're looking on the right side, the hologram for NGC. This is the other company. For any expensive coin, we only use these major grading companies. Sometimes for near bullion coins, we might use one of the smaller companies because they're faster. But we're willing to spend the money and spend the time for the major rarities to have them graded by only the two top companies. All right, this one is from the Douglas Morris collection, Greg, and it's a 1765 Proof 63.
Yeah, this is a presentation piece, mega rarity, similar to the 1729. There's only half a dozen known to exist, and the lucky owner of this bought this quite reasonable, and again, the U.S. comparable is worth an absolute fortune. Yet these are quite reasonable. So I have not found anything from the we got very fortunate to find a few presentation proofs from the 1700s. This is a couple of years ago now. I haven't seen any since. So we're talking about coins where there's only 3 to 5 known to exist of them. So obviously they don't come on the market very often, which underscores the point that when we do find mega rarities, there's no time to sit and think about it. We have to be Johnny on the spot and say, yes, we'll take it, because there's a line of people standing behind me ready to jump on it if I don't. So fortunately, folks, in case you're wondering, how do we find these with all the incredible competition that exists? Well, that's where 40-some years in the business comes into play. We have built a fabulous reputation, and when major rarities do come on the market, I usually hear about them first. Not all the time, obviously, I can't control everything, but most of the time when a major rarity hits the market, I hear about it right away. So that's why we jump in and buy them immediately. Sometimes where it's we have to stretch our finances to do it, because unlike other businesses where you can have the luxury of selling by taking orders, we don't have that ability. We have to find the great rarities when they come up and jump on them. That's the reason why I'm excited about the over $1 million collection of sovereigns Tom recently helped us buy, of all mega rarities. I mentioned that in the Treasures We Discovered section at the beginning. I don't need to do that again, but they're these types of great rarities like what you're looking at. Okay, next.
Okay, now we're up to 1774. This is a proof 65, and let me just tell you folks, the photo on the left, the obverse, doesn't do it justice. The photo on the right is very well done, but on the left it's a little washed out. It's a much more beautiful coin than this.
Folks, this is the highest grade proof gold coin from the 1700s known to exist, not just from this date, but from the entire century. And so this is an incredible find for the gold in our collection. And it was, memory serves me right, it was quite cheap. It was, I believe it was around $25,000. Like, you know, to find something that grade and that rarity from the 1700s is just mind-boggling. So one of the best pieces in the gold in our collection. And I want to emphasize that the collection that I just bought that we're going to be adding to the gold in our collection will be some of the greatest trophy rarities that we've been able to find to date as well. Okay, next.
And some of those are still available. Okay, 1785. This is from the Turner collection, and it's an MS-64.
This is the finest known. Turner spent a lifetime collecting English sovereigns and built a fabulous collection. I bought this from his collection when it was put up for sale, and this is an incredible gem quality coin and was quite reasonable in price considering its rarity. None of these were that expensive that we've looked at so far, folks. I think the most expensive coin so far has been $40,000. None of them have been that expensive. Whereas anything from the U.S. era newer than this are worth many multiples of this.
Yeah, folks, the latest version of the Gold and Art Educational Monograph has just been published. If you haven't seen that yet, send us an email and we'll send you a PDF version of it. But it is just stunningly beautiful. It's from the original 6 pages to now 12 pages, and there's 2 full pages just of comparison coins. And the average, when we're comparing a U.S. coin to a British coin, the average price differential is 10 times as much. And this is when we're comparing apples to apples, like 15 known to exist for each of the coins. Or one might be 14, one might be 15. You know, we would get as close as we could. Same size coin, same age, same condition. If, you know, one's 64, the other's MS-64. So comparing apples to apples as much as possible, they were all a little bit over or a little bit under, or 10 times the value. The average of all of them was 10. So you definitely want to see this. It's a pretty amazing piece, not only for the education that you get, but also the beautifully done photos where you can compare the British and the American and the prices, because we will someday see the British coins at the same price as the American coins. They used to be before the United States got this really fantastic grading system, and they used to be sold at comparable prices. Now today, the U.S. coins are going up thousands of percent, where during the same period of time the Europeans have only gone up hundreds of percent. But we will see them come at parity again. Okay, 1789 guinea. This one's an MS62, Greg.
Again, we're continuing our series. You can see that we have been able to build the collection so far with everything being in mint condition or proof condition. And again, to emphasize how difficult this is of an accomplishment, 99.999% of the coins that do come on the market are all worn out. Now, very few of these come on the market, period, in any condition. But the ones that do come on the market, 1 out of 1,000 would be in mint condition. That's how big of a challenge it is to find them. Only 1 out of 1,000 that may come on the market will be good enough for the gold in our collection. So I'm very fussy, and I'd rather go home empty-handed, which I have a lot of lately. I've gone to 4 coin shows in a row, folks, 4 in a row, without buying a single coin at any of them. I'd rather go home empty-handed than lower the standards, because that won't suit our long-term purposes. Everyone that the dealers I talk to at all the shows I've been to have been complaining about how dry all the shows are, and there's only junk there. So I don't know if this is a long-term trend or not, but it's been pretty dismal with any finding new trophies for the collection. That's why I'm excited about what I have found over the last couple of weeks, because it has been such a big challenge. Okay, next.
Okay, now this is a very interesting one. We're getting out of the normal. 1791, this is one of the gold pattern coins. It's a proof 64, and it's not just proof, but it's cameo, and it's not just cameo. This is an ultra cameo, so it's quite an amazing coin.
That finished designation, ultra cameo, refers to the two-tone effect. Great Britain was the first in the world to mint proof coins. The first one was made in 1656. First gold coin was made in 1656. There was a silver one made a few years earlier. By the late 1700s, Great Britain had perfected their technology to the point where they were now minting two-tone proofs with the head frosted, with that frosted look, and then the fields, those are the spot on the coin where there's no design. That's called the field, are mirror-like. So it presents a really beautiful contrast, and this particular piece was made as a presentation piece for the king. There's only, I believe, 3 known to exist, so a major rarity and a trophy piece for sure. And again, these are quite reasonable considering their rarity. Okay, next.
Okay, this is another 1795. In this case, it's a regular guinea, MS62.
Again, this is a beautiful, brand new mint condition coin from the 1700s. Quite reasonable. So this one was only a few $1,000s. So they can be very reasonable despite their age. Even if you have modest means, you could still buy some of these. I don't want to sound elitist and that we only find $50,000 and $100,000 coins. We do find things that are reasonable cost also, and to get something from the 1700s in condition is for small amounts of money is an absolute bargain.
Okay.
Tom, I just bought one today. As a matter of fact, Tom just picked it up.
Yeah, it's a beautiful coin. All right, now we're looking at a 1798 guinea. This is MS64, Greg.
This is virtually identical to the one Tom picked up today. Give you an idea, folks, these brand new gem condition sovereigns from the late 1700s are quite inexpensive. They're less than $5,000. That's a bargain for something from that time frame. Now, this is not a major rarity. This is a coin that does come on the market fairly frequently in circulated condition, but in brand new mint condition, they rarely come up for sale. Whenever they do, I grab them because they're so inexpensive.
So this would be called a condition rarity then?
No, I mean, it's a rare coin, even circulated, but there are quite a few of them, though, that do come on the market circulated. It's just, it's only majorly rare and high grade. There's some coins that are condition rarities where they're common, circulated, and extremely rare in mint condition. My story of my 1884 S-mint silver dollar falls in that category. There are 3 million made, very common coins circulated. You can buy a nice circulated one for $50, yet the best one is worth, you're ready for this, nearly $1 million. Only in the American series do we have this mind-boggling increase in value based on condition. That'll eventually come to coins from Great Britain. And of course, it's my goal to buy all the great high-grade condition rarities now while they're still reasonable.
Okay, now we're jumping all the way to 1813. This is a pattern coin, a pattern guinea. It's listed in the WR book. It's a reeded edge Proof 64 Ultra Cameo.
Just so you know, just so excuse me. So I explain this. Pattern is a designation that numismatists use to explain a coin that was made for presentation purposes to the king and his court to show the king a new design, and sometimes the pattern was then later adopted, which is the case in this particular coin, and other times the pattern was not adopted for regular use, in which case it's just a one-off design. In either case, they're just as desirable. Patterns are one of the most popular areas of coins to collect. I actually set the world record for the most valuable pattern coin in history back in the early 1990s. So I love pattern coins when we can find them, especially old ones, because they're always extremely rare. For instance, this one, I believe there's only 3 or 4 known to exist, and yet it was only $40,000 for the one who bought that.
All right.
Now, Tom,
yes.
It's 9 minutes to the hour. I was thinking that we should break now and open up for questions because in order to properly explain these, I need to take my time, so there's no need to rush it. So why don't we take a break here and open it up for questions and see if anybody has any questions about what we've been looking at so far.
9, 10, 11. Okay. You might want to cover one more coin, Greg, just because this is the first one that we've seen tonight that has St. George slaying the dragon on it. It's in 1817, and this is where we switch from guinea to sovereign in the naming convention. But this has got the beautiful painting of St. George slaying the dragon on the back of the coin. That's a MS-64 sovereign.
Yeah, this is a beautiful coin, and to give you the history, the sovereign was first created by King Henry VII. That was the father of the famous Henry VIII in 1489. Now, when Henry VII created the new gold series for the main coinage unit for Great Britain, he called it the sovereign, naming it after himself, of course. This was going to be now the new denomination for Great Britain, or the new currency unit for Great Britain. The same way that we look at the dollar as the currency unit for the United States, King Henry VII created the sovereign as the currency unit for Great Britain. So it maintained the name, the sovereign, for a long period of time up until the 1600s, where it was then changed to the name Guinea. Now, the reason it was changed to the name Guinea is because Guinea was one of the colonies of Great Britain and a source of a large amount of gold. So King Charles II decided to change the name to the Guinea to reference all the gold that was coming out of Africa. It's been said that London became the powerhouse international trading center that it is today as a result of all the gold that Great Britain took out of Africa in the mid to late 1600s and early 1700s. Then the name was changed back again to the sovereign, as you see here in 1817, this being the first one. So this begins the series again now, and this is the finest one known of this beautiful great era. The St. George slaying the dragon design has become synonymous with Great Britain. It is still being used today. If you go on the Royal Mint's website and buy a 2012 gold sovereign, you can do so for it's about a 30 or 40% premium to the gold price, and you'll see that it's the same design as the one you're looking at here from 1817 on the reverse. The obverse is different because, of course, it had a Queen Elizabeth II on it, but the reverse design is still the same. So Great Britain began this design in 1817 and still uses it today. So obviously a very famous and popular artwork. Okay, let's see if any of you have any thoughts or questions. And it could be on what we've been talking about or anything related to coins or economics related to gold. Any questions you might have. Doesn't have to be specifically on what we talked about.
All right, so go ahead, folks, and start typing the questions in. One of the reasons we have you sign in is so that you can know where to put your questions in, comments. Feel free to do that right now. While you're doing so, I'll just mention that next Monday, next Tuesday, we'll be taking our Thanksgiving break. By the way, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. This coming up this Thursday, but because people are traveling back from Thanksgiving, we find that it's usually better to take the Monday and Tuesday following Thanksgiving off. And then in the rest of the year, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, also there will be no webinars. All right. As far as general announcements, some of you only attend the gold webinars because you have to request to be on either of the webinars. But we actually do two different types of webinars each week. On Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time are the financial education webinars promoted by or sponsored by Christian Financial Concepts. The website is on the screen there, christianfinancialconcepts.com. And then on Tuesday nights, the advanced gold webinars, and these are sponsored by goldenarttreasures.com. That's the second website that you see down there. I would recommend strongly that you check out both those websites. If you would like to get recordings of the webinars, you can just reply to the email where you received the webinar announcement, which is webinars@bellsouth.net, or call the office number, which is on the screen there in green, and we'll be more than happy to send you copies of them. Or if you don't want to do it that way, you can go directly to Christian Financial Concepts, and you'll see two different sections, one for the Christian financial webinars and another for the gold webinars, and you can click on them and view them directly online rather than downloading them. So we try to give you choices there. Every month we have an attendance contest, and we actually give away a real money, back from 1933 when the U.S. had real money. Those of you that are not familiar with what happened, you should send for the Gold Education Starter Package. Just write us an email to webinars@bellsouth.net, and we'll send you some articles, including that Golden Art educational piece that I mentioned earlier, and some others that tell the story of how we ended up with horrendous inflation in this country, 96% inflation since we went off the gold standard. Very interesting study. And the money that we had back then was the 1 ounce gold coins that would represent $20 in value. And this gold certificate was redeemable for a 1 ounce gold coin. Today they're worth around $200. They don't have any monetary value, but their collectible value is around $200, and we like to give one away each month as the thank you for the person that attends the most webinars in that particular month. All right, I don't see any questions on the panel right now, so I'm going to give you another moment to type in your questions. And as Greg said, it doesn't have to be about sovereigns. It could be about any area of gold, silver, rare coins, bullion, anything to do with this general subject area, or with inflation and international finance, what's happening in the world, how politics are affecting our money, and so on. So if you have any questions or any comments, I've done a lot of teaching in my life, and I found out that all of us are smarter than any of us. So the collective wisdom, as much as Greg knows, the collective wisdom, including his and all of you that are on the line from all over the world, is always greater than what the instructor knows. So you may know some things that are worth sharing with others. So feel free to type them in at this point.
I might also add, too, that whenever possible, I offer the opportunity to have one-on-one consultation with anyone who'd like to immediately following the webinar. So if you have some questions that you'd like answered, but you'd rather do so confidentially, or you'd like to discuss some specific objectives of your own, as soon as the webinar is over, call Tom, and he'll hook the two of us together. I try to make myself available as often as possible to speak to any of you. So if you would like that consultation afterwards, just let Tom know.
That's a good point. We do arrange conference calls with Greg through this office at the telephone number that you see there. However, with the 6-hour time difference, sometimes with your schedule and his, it's a little difficult. So right now, we're all together, and if you'd like to talk to Greg personally, you can either, as Greg said, call the office as soon as we hang up here tonight, or you can type it in right now in the question panel, and the first person that does so, Greg will give them a call back within a few minutes, and he's available right now. He's still up. He'll be going to bed pretty soon, but he's still awake. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning there, Greg?
Yeah, actually, I'll be up for a while yet, because I'm actually traveling. So I'm alert and wide awake, so if anybody wants to talk, just let us know.
Okay, great. So type it in there in the question panel or call as soon as we get done, and we'll take your number, and then Greg will call you back in a few minutes. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions other than one that we had earlier. So Greg, if you'd like to give us a wrap-up, as they say on Fox News, we'll let you have the last chance to speak there.
Okay, sometimes we have lots of questions, other times we don't. Thank you all for listening. I enjoy the opportunity to teach you, and let us know if you'd like to talk further. Thank you all for listening, and have a good night.
Okay, and we pray that every one of you have a blessed Thanksgiving, and that you and your family will be grateful to the Lord for all of his many, many blessings to us. Good night. God bless you.